Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart of New York show. I have to say that this is one of the most important shows that I'll ever do this year, okay? Because we're coming up to a holiday season. We're in the middle of a holiday season when you see this. And we're going to see an awful lot of addictions, alcohol-related incidences, and disasters and health and loss more than ever before. I'm very serious about this subject because by the grace of God, okay, I haven't had a drink in 34 years. And that's only by the grace of God and support of people that I can talk to, be honest with, knowing that what I say is confidential and it doesn't go any further, because we got to talk about these things. We got to let them out, and that gives us a chance to grow and get rid of the resentments that can build up in our lives. I have a couple of gentlemen here that they're brothers to me. They're awesome. I have Anthony and Tony. I welcome these guys because these men are some of the strongest men that I have come in contact with during my recovery. They are very strong believers on one day at a time, keeping it simple. Phases like that you might be all aware of. But let me tell you, these two guys help me. We get together once a week, and they help me not pick up. What I mean by that is not pick up a drink. I got to tell you, I relate to these men 100%, and they relate to me, and that causes a bond that I don't see in major corporations. In fact, I'm sorry to say I don't even see in a lot of churches. It doesn't have a bond that we have. That not only that keep us going in the right direction, but what we got to do is we got to pass it on to keep it. And these guys help me do it every week. And I said, well, listen, I got to have you guys on because you got something to say out there that could, if it helps one person from blowing their brains out or destroying their family or their work or their lives and everything, we've done our job. That's how I look at it, because if we don't pass it on, we're not going to keep it. I want to welcome Anthony. Anthony, say hi to everybody. Welcome to the thing. Just say a little bit about what you have gone through.
Sobriety or...
And what you need to, basically how you've been on the straight and narrow for quite some time now.
Well, July was 7 years that I didn't drink, and my whole life is a lot better than what it was, on the way up here, I was going over the outer bridge, and I thought about how narrow this bridge is, and I was sober. And I used to go over that bridge when I was blasted out of my brain, and God was looking over me, and Peter talks about, a group of men. I depend a lot on my faith that, when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, the only person that could ever get me sober at that time and keep me sober is my Lord, that I believe in very, very much, And I never did that before, I was telling a story the other night about my youngest granddaughter who used to run away when I was drinking. And now she runs towards me, I only had 5 days sober, and she could tell that I was a different person in 5 days, And you don't need a lot of money to have enjoyment with your family. Talking about this younger granddaughter, I was on a computer chair that spins around. And I spun around, and she was laughing like I was tickling her, And that made me feel good. I never felt like that before. Yeah. And I blame it on not picking up. Yeah. Yeah, there was times where I thought I'd be better off, or my family would be better off without me. You know. But I don't think like that anymore. And I go to sleep very easy now. I don't have to take Valiums, Ambien 12s and a half, and 3 or 4 drinks to go to sleep. Because I don't have to worry about eternity and losing my soul now. I fall asleep with no worries, you know.
See, that's an amazing, amazing thing what Anthony's been talking about. He relies on his Lord, okay? Some people say higher power. Some people say Jesus, God. But he relies on that, and that gives him the peace and the strength. Am I correct on saying that, Anthony?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And then we go from there. But I want to go further down the road here. I want to introduce Tony here, who's another asset to helping me stay sober one day at a time. And say hi to everybody, introduce and give them a little bit about.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony. From Jersey, the youngest of 8. Growing up, it was real hectic. You know, my father was an alcoholic and used to have the cops at the house almost every day, if not every other day. And so I grew up emotionally a messed up person, ashamed. And I grew up with a lot of emotional problems. I didn't expect this to happen today. But, you know, I grew up and I tried to do everything everybody else did. You know, I'm a Catholic. And so, you know, God was a punishing God. And so I had to turn away from God because I wanted to do all the things that I wasn't supposed to do. And, you know, in my recovery, I hear that, you know, people say that in recovery they have a different God. And I have the same God that I had when I was a child. There was consequences for my actions, and I did a lot of wrong things, and I paid a dear price for them. But I just said I just have the same God because today I turned my life and will over to care of God as I understood him or understand him, and I'm living a very comfortable life today. You know, when I was 16, I quit school. 17 and a half, I joined the Marine Corps, you know, because I wanted to see if I could make it to be a Marine. And I got out of the Marine Corps with an honorable discharge, and my whole life changed. Not the way that I looked, things were different. You know, there was a big saying when somebody did something wrong to you. They said, "Oh, don't worry, you know, he'll have his day. You know, he'll be judged for his wrongdoings." And I used to say to God, well, this person can't wait till Judgment Day. And I would do whatever I had to do to that person. And they were all wrong behaviors. But like I said, I'm a veteran. I suffer from PTSD. I came to a point in my life when I hit my bottom that I had no other choice but to get help. I was facing prison time. And so I went to a couple facilities, 30 days apiece, rehabs. And then I came home and I thought I would start my journey of not drinking. But that's when I found out that I had other issues. I wind up doing 3 inpatient hospitals, total of 9 months, a psychiatric hospital. And that's when my journey began. You know, I found out that I had to have an open mind and a willingness to change. And I'm glad, Peter, for this opportunity because I'd really like to try to help anybody I can, especially veterans that are suffering and with suicidal thoughts and stuff, because I tried that a couple times too. And but as my friend Anthony was saying, you know, God was looking out for me. And today I try to live a life the way that he wants me to live. And some people would say, you know, well, how do you know what God's will is? Well, I know what his will is not for me to do. And that's the things that I used to do. And I don't do them things anymore. My life has become very manageable. My wife loves me. I'm working on a family. You know, I got a couple kids that love me, and I got a couple that don't. You know, and I've learned to accept life on life's terms. And this is really, really a great opportunity. I wish everybody the best. You know, there is help out there. The biggest thing is that, you know, I was the type of person that, you know, you couldn't tell me anything. I don't need nobody, you know. I didn't fear nobody. The reality was that I feared everything. There was a saying that I have, but I forgot it right now. I was fearful of everything. And today, I don't fear anything. I have fear, of course, like everybody else has, but I'm living a good life. I don't have road rage. I don't look to jump out of my car anymore. A friend had told me a long time ago to put a picture, I mean, simple things like get a picture of your grandkids and put it on a dashboard. And before you act, look at that picture. Because I'm the person that I have to walk a straight line or I will be in prison. And so my old life has nothing to do with the life that I live today. I live a comfortable life. I live life on life's terms. But it's all about open mind and willingness. You know, I was comfortable in certain areas of my life when it comes to violence that I was comfortable with, and I had to give all of that up, and that was very hard for me. But one day at a time, I took the suggestions that people were giving me, even though they were like far-fetched, and I said, I can't do that, but I tried it. And slowly but surely, you know, my life changed. And I'm grateful for all the people that helped me. I'm grateful for Peter to have me come here today because I really want to let my story be told. You know, for people that there is help out there, all you got to do is ask. And you meet a bunch of nice people, you know, people that are willing to help, to go to any lengths to keep you straight. And thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Tony, and stay tuned with this man because he's gonna sing, not on today's show, but in the future, and we're gonna cheer him on. You know, Anthony, for the last 4 years, I've been hearing you, you know, every week, and I have seen how us getting together, you have become stronger, better, overcoming obstacles, relying on God in every area of your life. And you also said you pray a lot. Now, tell the person out there, you've been in 7 years now, sober. Tell the person out there, well, wait a minute, I'm in, but things are just getting worse. I just lost my job after 4 years of not drinking. My wife's divorcing me. I'm losing my family. But I'm following what they're telling me to do. But nothing's working. What would you say to someone like that?
I would say hang in. You know, there's a lot of good people out there. You know, and all you got to do is search for them, you know. And people are always saying, oh, God didn't do this for me. God didn't do that for me. And, I say, well, what did you do for God, you know? I asked God to give me sobriety, to change me, all right, to be a better person than what I was. All right, now, I had to do something for God. I had to give him something, you know, left hand, right hand, all right? I gave up the thing that I loved the most. Before my kids, my grandkids, my wife, right? I gave up alcohol. That was my payoff for him to give me what I got. Now, it's not only God, you know. I mean, there are other things out there, you know. Like I said, there's help out here that you got to look for. All right? And I had to go to detox and rehab, all right? And they taught me tricks about, you know, whenever you feel down and out, pick up the phone, call somebody, you know. I would never talk to my wife because that's not what a man does. He doesn't ask a woman for help, you know. But if I could do this, all right, I was 68 years old when I changed my life around, all right? I mean, I was polluted, my body, my cells, every fiber of my being, all right, had to change. And I did it, all right? I had help, okay? But like I said before, there are times when there's no help around, and that's when I'm laying in bed at night, you know? And I learned to make up prayers, all right, not the conventional ones, you know, that you know. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, grew up in a very holy Catholic family. And on Sundays, my grandpa used to bless the table with palm and holy water, all right? That's how religious they were, all right? But, you know, sometimes I go to church and I hear, you know, the priest that say something that I don't agree with. All right? Do I storm out of there? No, I don't. I don't lose my temper, all right? And God, you know, people say he's a punishing God. I was taught that he loved me. He created me, all right, to love him and serve him. So I believe, all right, and Tony would agree with me that if God was a punishing God, like everybody thinks he is, I wouldn't be here right now, all right? I came from Sunset Park in Brooklyn, all right, in the 50s and 60s, all right? And I made it out of there alive, okay? And God could have put an end to me right then and there, but he didn't, all right? And I see that now, you know? I don't need a reputation anymore, you know? All I need is to serve him, love him, and to not be the man that, you know, there's a saying that someone said that I'm not yet the man that I want to be, but thank God I'm not the man that I was.
That's powerful. Absolutely powerful. What you're saying is God gets you through difficult times.
Yeah.
All you got to do is surrender your will to him. Is that what you just said? You just
Correct. Like I said, I changed every fiber in my body not to be the person that I was. All right, and that is my payoff to him for what he gave me. You know.
That is so important because we have to, and I had to understand that we can't do this alone. That life is just too difficult, no matter how long you've been around or how long you've been sober or how much money you have or don't have. It has nothing to do with it. We got to rely today more than ever on a power greater than ourselves that will take care of situations. Now, here's the part. Here's the part that I had to get through, okay? I had to get through, well, all right, God's going to take care of everything. Yeah, he does. But we have to take action, okay? I had to find out that God does not steer parked cars. I had to take action. I had to do what I said, what they tell me, and the suggestions, what to do, when to do it, because I had a big thing with anger. And that's what I want to get to you about, Tony. You mentioned road rage and a few other things. How can you tell the person out there during this time that we're going through right now, that's suffering, that's waking up hungover, drunk out of its mind, and they can't control their anger? Tell them how you did it.
Well, for me, it was really hard at first, you know, I mean, because I was full of anger, rage, and then the thing with me is when I do act out, when I go into rage, I black out, and I never remember what I did. And so what I did is I turned it over to God. I thought about how how would he want me to act? And we all know the difference between right and wrong. What's the right thing to do and the wrong thing? And I just tried to do what he wanted me to do, and that was for me not to get out of the car. You know, one time I was coming home from a meeting, and there was a guy tailgating me. And I took my phone, and I put it on video. And as I was driving, I held my phone like this because I was taping everything. I wanted proof that if he got out of his car when I got out, that all I was doing was defending myself. And so the next week I'm a veteran, so I went to a veterans meeting, and I was really happy that the guy never got out of his car. Nothing ever happened. But I had the video. And next week I went to the meeting, and I was like, hey, guys, you won't believe what I did. You know, I was so happy at the actions that I took because I was protecting myself. And then my friend says, that's not good. I said, what do you mean it's not good? He said, that's premeditated. I was like, man, I could never win in what I wanted to do. Wow. And he was right, you know? And that's how I was. I mean, I wanted proof because no matter what I do in any situation, I'm always found to be guilty of because of my past and who I am. And so I just pray to God, and I know how he wants me to act. It was hard, and I talked to Anthony a lot, you know? I said, Ann, I says, you know, once I received the peace and serenity from within, you know, I tell Anthony, I said, once you receive that, you're never going to let that go because there's no feeling in the world of being completely relaxed and, I can't think of, content with my life and who I am today. I like myself today, you know, I really do. I'm a good person. I don't care what people think about me. I shoot straight from the hip, and but I try to say things. You know, there's a saying that I heard a long time ago. That, you know, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. And that's what I try to do in my life because I could be kind of a, you know, I got a guy that I'm helping out, and he tells everybody, he goes, you know, he's my sponsor, but he's a little rough around the edges, you know. And that's my sponsor telling me that I'm rough around the edges. But I am and who I am, you know. I'm not going to fake. I don't fake things. I speak from my heart. And even like when this started out today, you know, I prayed to God and I said, God, speak through me in what you want me to say. Has nothing to do with me. I mean, everything that I have in my life is due from God. And yes, there's people that help me. Pete, you know, we meet once a week. Peter, Anthony, and, you know, I go to other meetings with my veterans. I mean, I'm sober now a little over 9.5 years. And my life consists of, I go to meetings, I go to my PTSD meetings, I see my counselor, I see a psychiatrist. I need all of these people in my life to keep me on a straight and narrow. And by doing that, I'm living a good life today, and I don't plan on stopping that. And one thing I want to say, one thing I wanted to say about people, you know, when they say, oh yeah, God, 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 God. You know, from when I was little, I asked my mom that I wanted to take singing lessons. I always wanted to be a singer. And she says, Tony, everybody wants to be a singer. Take saxophone. I hated saxophone. And so all my life I wanted to sing, and I got into karaoke, and I did this, and I did that, and I let it go, you know, because I'm my worst enemy. And you know, that God's a punishing God. Well, here I am today, still trying to sing, because I love singing. I meet a guy, Peter, that asked me to come on a show, or to be on a show that's going to be televised, and to tell my story, and asked me if I wanted to sing, you know, to an audience, you know, of you people. And that's beyond my wildest dreams. And I didn't do it today because, you know, I'm like, Anthony said, you had a shot, you should have done. I said, nah, I'm not ready. Maybe next year, you know. But where else? I mean, you know, when I was out there drinking, nobody asked me, hey, could I interview you? You know, the judge interviewed me a lot, you know. You know, I got interviewed that way, but nobody ever asked me to do an interview. And so I'm very humbled, and I'm grateful that Peter gave me this shot, you know. It's just a great thing. And all I really want out of this is for just someone that maybe I touched or could help, and to live a better life. Thanks.
That's wonderful. So you all have something to look forward to next year. We'll be, you know, we're going to be, all three of us be back, and we're going to hear Tony sing, and maybe you might do the drums. I don't know, but we'll be here to cheer him on when he's singing. And you know, this is what it's about. You know, helping each other, enjoying life when we can. Not to saying that everything is smooth sailing, right, Anthony?
Correct.
I mean, we got to go through, as the saying is, trials and tribulations. Everybody does. Everybody does. And we got to get through that. And you and Tony said we got to rely upon God Almighty. And man, I'm telling you, it took me a long time to understand what that really meant. And Tony, you mentioned something about receiving it, the peace. Real brief. We got a couple of minutes. Real brief. How can someone out there, what you said in that simple term, once I received the peace and all that, how can they do that?
Just by having an open mind and willing to change, you know, trusting in God. I did a lot of bad things in my life, and I did everything that I'm not supposed to do. But once I turned my life over to care of God, you know, from that punishing God, I got a loving God. I mean, I live a good life today, a comfortable life, and I'll make it simple. What's comfortable for me? I don't have cops knocking on my door. I don't have any court cases. I'm free to go wherever I want to go. And I'm at peace. I don't have to get involved in anything I don't want to get involved with. And so you asked me to sum it up, and I would just have peace and open mind and just take it one day at a time. And even though it may not work at first, continue to do it. And I'll guarantee you, God will come into your life. And that peace and serenity is the best gift I could ever receive. And people would say to me, I'll just end with this, people would say to me, hey, Tom, let me ask you a question. When you die, do you think you're going to go to heaven? And I said, well, I'll tell you what. When I go up there and he says, sorry, you're not coming up, I'm going to say, thanks for giving me a good time on earth. And that's it. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Tony. You know, he also said another thing, that he guarantees it. You see, I come from a background of Wall Street where we can never guarantee anything. In fact, I can't even think of life where you can guarantee things. But one thing that we three can guarantee is that if we surrender to God's perfect will, we will get that peace. We will get through anything. And I mean anything. I've been almost killed by a taxi cab in Manhattan, knocked around like a red dog, almost died. How many times my wife could tell you, and she saw it. Horrible. Cancer, just finished 43 radiation treatments. I got to go for another injection on Monday. It's just tons of things, tons of losses. But man, God got me through because I can talk to guys like these. Okay, they can talk to me. We can talk, and this is how you get better. This is how you get stronger. And I want to thank these guys. It's such an honor to have these two on that we're going to continue this. And do what Anthony said. Don't stop. You take your steps forward, one step at a time. Sometimes I had to go one step. I had to go 1 minute at a time, but it works. And like Tony said, we guarantee you victory, or God does. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. See you next time.